Hello friends, I am Kamakshi Khandelwal. I welcome you all to my next session in my webinar series, that is supply. We will understand what is supply, what is its meaning and scope. So let's start. The term supply includes all forms of supply of goods or services supplied or to be supplied for a consideration in the course or the furtherance of business. However, there are specific type of supplies mentioned in the law which need to be considered as supply even if they are made without consideration. Let us understand by categorizing the different types of supply as supply made for a consideration in the course of the furtherance of the business, supply made without consideration, supply made for a consideration whether or not in the course of the furtherance of business. First, section 7 subsection 1, supply includes all forms of supply of goods or services or both, such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease or disposal, made or agreed to be made. That means advance is also covered. For a consideration by a person in the course or the furtherance of the business. The words here written are by a person and to a person is not written, which means self-supplies are also taxable. Self-supplies are also liable to GST. Now let us understand these words one by one. First, what is goods? According to section 2 clause 52 of the CGST Act, goods means every kind of movable property other than money and securities, but includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass and things attached to or forming part of the land, whether which are agreed to be severed before sale or under the contract of supply. So, every kind of material, article shall be classified as goods. Now, what are services? According to section 2 clause 102 of the CGST Act, services means anything other than goods, money and securities, but includes transaction in money or its conversion by cash or by any other mode from one form, currency or denomination to another form, currency or denomination for which a separate consideration is charged. So, service has been defined as anything other than goods. Now, let us understand what are the different types of supply which are defined. First, sale. Any sale of goods or service which broadly result in the transfer of title in case of goods and transfer of right to use in the case of services will be classified as sale. Now, transfer. Any transfers between branches form a part of supply and are taxable. However, GST paid on branch transfers are fully available as input tax credit. Barter or exchange. When the consideration is paid through non-monetary terms instead of monetary terms. For example, A is a photographer, he wants to be a dentist to get his tooth problem fixed. A agreed to photograph the dentist wedding pictures in return for some dental work of equal value. So, this will be considered as barter and exchange, and GST shall also be applicable on such transaction. Next is license. Any grant of license to use forms part of supply. For example, online subscriptions. Next, rental. Renting of property fully or partially is a supply under GST. Lease. Letting out the building or property on lease is a supply under GST. Disposal. Disposal of business assets forms the part of supply. So, we have understood the first subsection which says that supply includes all forms of supply made for a consideration. So consideration is necessary to fall under clause A of subsection 1. Now moving over to the next clause. Clause B, importation of service for a consideration, whether or not in the course or the furtherance of the business. It also has to be read with clause 4 of schedule 2, which says import of service by a taxable person from a related person or any of his other establishments outside India in the course or the furtherance of business. Thus, import of service is liable to GST whether or not it is made for a consideration and whether or not it is in the course or the furtherance of business. In clause 4 of schedule 2, it says import of service by a taxable person from a related person. Now let us understand who is the related person according to GST. According to explanation to section 15 of the CGST Act, related persons, the person shall be deemed to be related if such persons are officers or directors of one another's businesses. Such persons are legally recognized partners in business. Such persons are employer and employee. Any person directly or indirectly owns, controls or holds 25% or more of the outstanding voting stock or shares of both of them. One of them directly or indirectly controls the other. Both of them are directly or indirectly controlled by a third person. Together, they directly or indirectly control a third person, or they are members of the same family. The term person shall also include legal persons. Persons who are associated in the business of one another, in that one is the sole agent or the sole distributor or sole concessionaire, howsoever described, of the other, shall also be deemed to be related. So these are the list of the persons who shall be deemed to be related according to the GST Act. Now one thing is that consideration is not mandatory to attract GST, that is free services received from outside India shall also be liable to GST. Whether or not in the course or the furtherance of the business is also not relevant, meaning thereby import of service for personal use shall also be liable to GST. For example, I downloaded online gaming, music, videos over the internet. So am I liable to pay GST on the same? After reading the above section, I would say yes, GST is applicable on this transaction. But according to section 14 of the IGST Act, if online information and database access or retrieval service is supplied by any person located in a non-taxable territory to a non-taxable online recipient, the supplier of service located in the non-taxable territory shall be the person liable for paying integrated tax on such transaction. Meaning thereby, if I have downloaded the online gaming system over the internet, so the supplier who is located in the non-taxable territory shall be liable to pay IGST on this transaction, and me being the recipient will not be liable to pay GST. What is the meaning of the non-taxable online recipient? It means any government, local authority, governmental authority, an individual or any other person not registered. So I'm a person who is not registered under GST and receiving online information and database access or retrieval service in relation to any purpose other than commerce, industry or any other business or profession located in the taxable territory. So I would not be liable to pay GST in such a scenario. Coming over to the next clause, clause C, it says supply includes activities specified in schedule 1 made or agreed to be made without a consideration. Now what are the activities that are specified in schedule 1? First, permanent transfer or disposal of business assets where input tax credit has been availed on such assets. For example, a company is giving its used laptops, furniture, etc. to a charitable organization. The disposal of computers, tables, furniture, etc. is the supply of goods and is liable to GST. Next, supply of goods or service or both between related persons or between distinct persons as specified in section 25 when made in the course or the furtherance of business, which means stock transfers liable to GST, provided that gifts not exceeding 50,000 rupees in a value in a financial year by an employer to an employee shall not be treated as supply of goods or service or both. Next, supply of goods by a principal to his agent where the agent undertakes to supply such goods on the behalf of the principal, or by an agent to his principal where the agent undertakes to receive such goods on the behalf of the principal. This clause deems transactions between principal and agent as supply. This deeming fiction is only for the transactions between the principal and the agent and not between the third person. Currently, transfer of goods from principal to agent is not liable to VAT. This deeming fiction is to track the movement of the goods from the principal to the agent or vice versa, and not for commission or the brokerage that is being paid by the principal and agent, which anyways is liable even without this deeming fiction. Now coming over to the next, import of services by a taxable person from a related person or any of his other establishments outside India in the course or the furtherance of the business. This I have just already explained you. Now coming over to the next clause, section 7 subsection 1 clause D. The activities to be treated as supply of goods or supply of service as specified in schedule 2. Now let us have a look what are the activities that are specified in schedule 2. Basically, each of the clause of schedule 2 has history of disputes whether it is goods or service. This schedule specifies certain transactions as supply of goods or supply of service. This is to resolve the existing disputes whether those transactions are goods or services. This distinction is more relevant in application of provisions like point of taxation, place of supply, etc. Now let us see what all activities are classified as goods or service in schedule 2. First, transfer. Any transfer of title in the goods is a supply of goods. Under the present law, the transfer of title in goods is not a service and is liable to VAT only. Second, any transfer of goods or of right in goods or of undivided share in goods without the transfer of title thereof is a supply of service. Presently, the transfer of right to use the goods without the transfer of possession and control is a supply of service, and with the transfer of possession and control is a deemed sale. But under GST, without any distinction, said transfer will constitute as a supply of service. Next, any transfer of title in goods under an agreement which stipulates that the property in goods will pass at a future date upon payment of full consideration as agreed is a supply of goods. So, financial lease or hire purchase transactions would amount to supply of goods under GST. Under the present law, such transactions are liable to both service tax and VAT. Second, land and building. Any lease, tenancy, easement, license to occupy land is a supply of service. Presently, this activity is a taxable service, but leasing of land for agricultural purposes is in the negative list. Under the GST law, this activity amounts to supply of service. Next, any lease or letting out of the building, including a commercial, industrial or residential complex for business or commerce, either wholly or partly, is a supply of service. Under the existing law, renting of residential dwelling for residence is in the negative list. Renting of precincts of religious place and renting of individual units having daily rent below rupees 1000 are exempt. Under GST law, renting for business or commercial purposes only amounts to supply of service. Third, treatment or process. Any treatment or process which is being applied to another person's goods is a supply of service. Presently, no service tax is applicable on job work amounting to manufacture. GST will be applicable on all situations of job work without the distinction of manufacture or non-manufacture. Next, transfer of business assets. Transfer of business assets whereby or under the direction of a person carrying on a business, goods held or used for the purpose of the business are put to any private use or are used or made available to any person for use for any purpose other than for the purpose of the business, whether or not for a consideration, the usage or making available of such goods is a supply of service. So, meaning thereby, business assets transferred for non-business purpose with or without consideration is a supply of service. Transfer of business assets where person ceases to be a taxable person, any goods forming part of the assets of any business carried on by him shall be deemed to be supplied by him in the course or the furtherance of his business immediately before he ceases to be a taxable person, unless the business is transferred as a going concern to another person or the business is carried on by a personal representative who is deemed to be a taxable person. Meaning thereby, where a person ceases to become a taxable person, the business assets shall be deemed to be supplied by him except in these two specified situations. Next, supply of service. Renting of immovable property. Presently, taxable as a declared service under section 66E, clause A of the Finance Act. No VAT is levied. Second, construction of a complex building, civil structure or the part thereof, including a complex or the building intended for sale to a buyer, wholly or partly, except where the entire consideration has been received after the issuance of completion certificate where required by the competent authority or before its first occupation, whichever is earlier, is a service. Under the existing law, taxable as a declared service under the Finance Act, and VAT is also levied on the construction of a complex building or the civil structure. So, under GST, such type of transactions would be considered as a supply of service only. Next, temporary transfer or permitting the use or enjoyment of any intellectual property right is a service. Under the present tax also, it is also a declared service. Next, development, design, programming, customization, adaptation, upgradation, enhancement, implementation of information technology software is a service. Under the present tax laws, software can be liable to tax under service tax, VAT or excise depending upon its nature. So, whether it is sale of goods or service or both, under the GST law, this activity is a supply of service. Agreeing to the obligation to refrain from an act or to tolerate an act or a situation or to do an act is a service. Currently also it is considered as a declared service only and liable to service tax. Next, transfer of the right to use any goods for any purpose, whether or not for a consideration for cash, deferred payment or other valuable consideration is a service. Under the existing law, transfer of the right to use goods without the transfer of possession and control is a service, and with the transfer of possession and control is a sale. But under GST, it would be considered as supply of service only. Next, composite supply. Works contract including transfer of property in the goods, whether as goods or in some other form involved in the execution of the works contract is a service. Both pure labor contract and works contract involving transfer of property are service under the GST law. Under present law, both service tax and VAT are attracted on works contract. Second, supply by the way of or as the part of any service in any other manner whatsoever of goods being food or any other article for human consumption or any drink other than alcoholic liquor for human consumption where such supply or service is for cash, deferred payment or other valuable consideration is a service. Restaurant and outdoor catering service are to be termed as service only under the GST law. Under the present law, both service tax and VAT are levied on restaurant and outdoor catering services. Next, supply of goods. Supply of goods by any unincorporated association or a body of persons to a member thereof for cash, deferred payment or other valuable consideration is a supply of goods. Supply of services by such association to members is not mentioned in the GST law. Under the present law, both service tax and VAT are attracted, but levy is disputed on the ground of mutuality. So these are the transactions that are specified in Schedule 2, which will be either treated as supply of goods or supply of services. Now, coming over to section 7 subsection 2, it says, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, the activities or transactions specified in Schedule 3 or such activities or transactions undertaken by the central government, state government or any local authority in which they are engaged as public authorities as may be notified by the central government on the recommendation of the council shall be treated neither as supply of goods nor a supply of service. So let us see what are the transactions that are covered under Schedule 3. First, services by an employee to the employer in the course of or in relation to his employment. Second, services by any court or tribunal established under any law for the time being in force. Third, functions performed by the members of the parliament, members of state legislature, members of panchayat, members of municipalities and members of other local authorities. The duties performed by any person who holds any post in pursuance of the provisions of the constitution in that capacity, or the duties performed by any person as a chairperson or a member or a director in a body established by the central government or state government or local authority and who is not deemed as an employee before the commencement of this clause. So basically, the functions performed by the members of parliament will not be treated as a supply of goods or supply of services. Next, services of funeral, burial, crematorium or mortuary, including transportation of the deceased. Next, sale of land and subject to clause B of para 5 of schedule 2, sale of building. Next, actionable claims are outside GST other than lottery, betting and gambling. So, these are the transactions which will neither be classified as goods nor services. It is a type of a negative list in GST on which GST is not applicable. Now moving over to another concept. What is the meaning of composite supply and mixed supply? According to section 2 clause 30 of the CGST Act, composite supply means a supply made by a taxable person to a recipient consisting of two or more taxable supplies of goods or services or both or any combination thereof, which are naturally bundled and supplied in conjunction with each other in the ordinary course of business, one of which is a principal supply. For example, where the goods are packed and transported with insurance, the supply of goods, packing material, transport and insurance is a composite supply, and supply of goods is the principal supply. Now, what is mixed supply? According to section 2 clause 74 of the CGST Act, mixed supply means two or more individual supplies of goods or services or any combination thereof made in conjunction with each other by a taxable person for a single price, where such supply does not constitute a composite supply. For example, a supply of package consisting of canned foods, sweets, chocolates, cakes, dry fruits, aerated drinks and fruit juices, when supplied for a single price, is a mixed supply. Each of these items can be supplied separately and is not dependent on any other. It shall not be a mixed supply if such items are supplied separately. Now let us understand the tax liability on composite supply and mixed supply. In case of composite supply, a composite supply comprising of two or more supplies, one of which is a principal supply, shall be treated as a supply of such principal supply. So, in my example, where I was supplying goods as well as providing services of packaging, transporting, etc., it will be considered as a composite supply of goods. Next, mixed supply. A mixed supply comprising two or more supplies shall be treated as a supply of that particular supply which attracts the highest rate of tax. So, this covers with the concept of supply. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Thank you.